we already have confirmation that we're getting a Nintendo Direct this month. So I think it's high time to do some predictions and some expectations as to what we're going to see here. We already know it's going to be pure Switch games, no future hardware. So that kind of feels like a buzzkill, doesn't it? Like, what exactly are we going to see this late in the Switch lifespan, assuming we get the new console next year? Like, to me, it just feels like there's not a whole lot of room for anything major or some like last minute revelations. Like, what is even going to come out this year? Like at this point, like I honestly kind of expect the reveal for the next piece of hardware to be relatively soon, and we'll have it by November, right? Maybe we'll have a handful of major releases like over the next couple of months, but I do feel like this year has been like a very clear indication of where things are going. But so what that means to me is that like all the really big, interesting new Nintendo titles are being developed for the new Nintendo console, right? Switch will continue to be supported in some capacity. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of dual releases, especially from smaller developers, right? But going forward, I don't know if we're going to get anything major. So, with that in mind, what exactly could we get on the Switch in the future that might be cool or interesting, right? I think the obvious thing that everyone's kind of pointing to right now is Metroid Prime 4. Metroid Prime being a hardcore Nintendo IP, being in development for so long, it would be a really nice swan song for the Switch if this thing came out before the next piece of Nintendo hardware did. Like, being the last major game on Nintendo Switch. Maybe. It might be being moved to the next platform for all we know. But, like, again, that has technically been confirmed for Switch, and we haven't gotten it yet. So, we might be seeing some news about it. We might get some other confirmation in regards to it, but who knows? Pokemon Legends EA, we've already have confirmation it's coming out January 2025. It is coming to Switch, so none of this speculation that like, oh, that's coming out in the next part. No, it is coming in 2025, our first 2025 release. And honestly, it is the most highly anticipated Nintendo title coming out next year that we know about. I loved the original Legends, so getting some information on that would be spectacular. There's some other stuff that's upcoming. The Professor Layton game we don't know anything about. In general, I it's really hard to say what we're going to get, right? Nintendo said some time ago that they were going to focus on more casual titles in like the later half of the Switch lifespan. So, what does that mean exactly? Well, I think it could be stuff that's more appealing to people who don't play a lot of video games. So, I could see stuff like Tamagotchi Life and Nintendogs making a comeback. I'm personally pulling for both. I've always been a big advocate for both franchises. So, seeing them come back to kind of pad out the release schedule, try to hold off the gap between the new Animal Crossing release, because we're not going to get the new Animal Crossing until like 7 years after the first one. It's going to be a while. Okay, Splatoon 3 is still being worked on, so I don't think Animal Crossing, if it's entered production, it's only just happened. Is my mindset on this. So it's going to be a while before we see the next Animal Crossing, in my opinion. So I don't expect to see Animal Crossing, for a while. Remakes, I think, is the big thing that people are talking about. Grezzo hasn't put out like a new Zelda remake since Link's Awakening, which was fantastic. So, I mean, my thing was always that I wanted them to do the Oracle games. I was really expecting them to do it already, but now that Tears of the Kingdom is out, now might be a good time to do that. Maybe. I'm a big fan of Grezzo. I'm a big advocate for them. I think they did a great job with Link's Awakening. So I would really want them to tackle an older Zelda game. The Oracle games or Zelda 2 specifically. Don't say Ocarina of Time, because they technically already did that with the 3DS. It was the same team and everything. So a remake of Ocarina or Majora would not do anything for me. But Oracle or Zelda 2. would be phenomenal, or even the original Zelda, right? Um, I don't know. Maybe we should wait for the 50th anniversary for that, but yeah. Um, I think Grezzo could have something in the oven. They worked on Triforce Heroes. They worked on Ever Oasis. It's been a while since they produced anything original, and they were like a major thing in like the Wii U and 3DS era. So I would definitely like them to make a comeback. I would love to see like a port of Triforce Heroes. I would love to see a re-release of Ever Oasis or a sequel, right, to either. Like again, like they are a really underrated studio, and I really hope that they release something notable on Switch aside from Link's Awakening. I do think it's been a while since we heard anything from them, but like until this year, I would have said the same thing about Goodfeel. So I'm sure we're gonna get something from Grezzo soon, but. That's my thinking on this. Ooh, they could do a Link to the Past. I'm wearing a Link to the Past shirt right now, so maybe a remake of a Link to the Past is in the cards. Kind of crazy that we got Link's Awakening before Link to the Past, but well, it is a Game Boy game, so I guess that makes sense. Well, yeah. So Grezzo, right? Would love to see that. Let's see. What else did I have in mind? Yeah, Codename Steam, right? Intelligent Systems, right? People have been talking about Fire Emblem 4 remake for a very long time, and I think that would be a really cool way to close off the Switch life cycle, right? To re-release a Fire Emblem game, and then like a couple of years into the next Nintendo console, release the new Fire Emblem. You know, exactly like they did with Echoes going to Three Houses. You know, release like this really good traditional Fire Emblem that caters to hardcore fans, and then like put out the new thing. Like I think we are long overdue for an official release of Fire Emblem 4 in the West. Okay, like I've been hearing about this game for a long time. It's one of those Super Nintendo games that never got released over here. You know, right up there with Live Alive, I would say. It's become kind of notorious for certain things about it. And seeing how much it was teased in Engage, you know, Sigurd is like one of the most prominently featured returning characters in that game. Like, I would be shocked if we don't get it very soon. So yeah, we're gonna get. I would like to see that, but I would also like to see like them bring back Codename Steam. Right, Codename Steam is an IP that was very sadly overlooked for like really petty, inconsequential reasons. For those of you who don't know, Codename Steam was shown off behind closed doors at an event when everybody was expecting them to reveal Majora's Mask 3D instead. So every single game journalist like did all these articles about how disappointed they were, and the game bombed, and Nintendo never did anything like it again because you know like this was a really good strategy game. Like very cool, very original, great visuals, great voice acting, a great premise in general, like amazing, super underrated new IP from Nintendo from the 3DS era, and it got spat on by everyone. It was embarrassing. So having that come back and actually like kind of close out that sequel hook we got. Like, I really doubt we'll get a sequel considering how poorly it did. But you know, a re-release with like a couple of extra missions to like you know close out that like cliffhanger ending. Like I would really like to see that. Codename Steam was fantastic. That game felt like it was tailor made for me personally. So I'm very anxious to see it come back. So um. I'd like to see something from Platinum, but I don't know if it's possible that they are not complete garbage. Like again, like I'm sure Astral Chain 2 is being worked on. I'm sure they have other things in the pipeline. I'm sure like there's something, but again, like Kamiya's not there anymore, so I don't know how long Platinum is even going to stay open. To me, I expect them to be the next Alpha Dream, the company that just shuts down and the team just like relocates into like other Nintendo subsidiaries is kind of my mindset on it. Yeah, Alpha Dream. Yeah, that's a good thing. Alpha Dream shut down, and it was such a big thing that a lot of people completely forgot about this. But Mario and Luigi 6 was confirmed to be in development just before Alpha Dream shut down. They did a Nintendo Direct about it. So I don't think it's impossible that Mario and Luigi 6 could resurface because it never formally was canceled, right? So I think it's possible that like critical members of the team were just shuffled around and they had to form a new studio or something. I don't necessarily know how this would have looked or what they would have done or whatever. Nintendo didn't try to salvage the company. So again, maybe it did get canceled and they never confirmed it, but um, I would like to see this see Mario and Luigi come back. You know, I do think it's been like what almost a decade since Paper Jam. Like this is an IP that desperately needs to get revitalized. People who like spurg out over like, oh, I would much rather have Paper Mario than Mario and Luigi. Like, come on, like both both franchises can exist. Come on. And for the record, I would not mind it if they produced a new Mario RPG series, right? You know, that's kind of my thing. Like seeing like Mario RPG and Super Mario RPG, like a Mario RPG and Paper Mario being remade the way they were. Like I think we're due for a new Mario RPG from a new developer with a new focus, a new direction. Again, like I would want something like action RPG focused, you know, like imagine like Mario and Luigi like running around like some field and like fighting some crazy enemies with like Mario and Luigi moves, right? Like imagine that like in real time, none of this like turn-based thing. Like I think that could work. I think that could be interesting. I think that could be cool. But again, like they need to find the right team for it and just put something like that out there or whatever. Like again, it's just an idea I had. Okay, like there's nothing to really suggest that, but it did dawn on me recently that Mario and Luigi 6 was never formally canceled. So hopefully we see something from that soon. Um, yeah. Hmm. Yeah, I would love to see like a new Kirby remake. You know, the Canvas Curse games have never been re-released on Switch. They could do like Triple Deluxe or Planet Robobot or something, but again, maybe they might wait until to release a new Kirby game next year because it's going to be like 3 years from 3 years since uh, Forgotten Land, right? So like I think maybe we could get like a new Kirby game in like March of next year. Okay, so yeah, whether it's a remake or a new one, we have to see. But again, I expect to see Kirby. Let's see what else. Yeah, I expect to see Metroid Prime 2. Yeah, nothing Pikmin related, nothing Animal Crossing related. Donkey Kong, yeah. So the big thing I want to see come back, you know, this Nintendo Direct. Well, first of all, we need Star Fox, but like the thing that I do think needs to come back is that we do need a Donkey Kong game. Like, it is appalling to me that Donkey Kong made an appearance in the movie and they just slapped together Mario versus DK and called it a day. Like, come on. Like, you don't have anything more original than that. You don't have you don't have a new game featuring Donkey Kong. Like, again, I don't want to like complain about DK because, you know, I've made it very clear how much I don't like people who do that. But like again, I do think it's about time we really start talking about this. Is that like, yeah, we need a new DK game. Like, I want something fresh and original. Like, you know, I do want a Donkey Kong Country Returns 3. Don't get me wrong, but I do think specifically I would want a sequel to Donkey Kong 64. You know, I want multiple player Kongs. I want a big open environment. I want like a lot of things each character could do. Like again, I want a sequel to that basically. That's kind of my thinking when it comes to Donkey Kong. And of course, there's a lot of things they could do with it, but um, I definitely want to see that happen. Yeah, third party games I want to see. I would love to see Slitterhead. I haven't like said this on the channel in forever because like we haven't heard anything about it, but like Slitterhead I think is my most anticipated game of 2024 right now. Like because this is just before Nintendo Direct season and Unicorn Overlord and Showtime are out already. I do think Slitterhead at this stage is the game I'm looking forward to the most. So I would really like to see that get on Switch or the next Nintendo console, but we'll have to see. I mean, they didn't confirm it, so I imagine it's not going to happen, but um, I'm definitely interested in that one. Yeah, obviously, I'd like to see Tekken 8, Street Fighter 6, Baldur's Gate 3, Doom, The Dark Ages, just so like we go through all this list of games that like really should be on Nintendo hardware, like Elden Ring, right? Forspoken, Final Fantasy 16, the real Final Fantasy 15, Final Fantasy 14, which should have happened years ago. I think that we do need to see like more third party support. Like again, I'm getting really tired of this, of like seeing third parties try to skip the Switch or pretend the Switch can't run their games, but the reality is that like they just don't put in the time and effort. So yeah, I do think that none of the games we've seen like at Summer's Game Fest or any of these PlayStation events or the Xbox events, I think all of them should be able to run on Switch no problem. And as a result, they should release on the next piece of Nintendo hardware as well. So that's kind of my thinking on that. I don't want to go through another generation of this crap. These nonsense excuses that like, oh, Switch can't run that. Oh, our games are made for mature gamers. They're not on Nintendo hardware. That needs to stop for sure. And that needs to stop yesterday. It got tiring a long time ago, but again, you still hear like developers like throw out that nonsense. Usually try in a blatant attempt to try to get people to pick up a PlayStation. And it's been a mindset that's been slowly dying as PlayStation like loses relevancy. Like there are very few developers I can still see doing that. Like Yakuza did it recently, but like Final Fantasy was doing it until just recently, right? But like it does need to stop. I don't see a reason to continue avoiding Nintendo hardware for these kind of AAA games. Is my honest feeling about it. So I do think I want to see like more third parties like surprise me, right? Like put out something that I wouldn't have normally picked up, right? So yeah, with that in mind, I think that's all I wanted to say. Yeah, a Mario Party game would be nice. It's been a while since Superstar hasn't yeah, one last Mario Party game for the Switch. Um, yeah, probably some Splatoon 3 updates. Yeah, like probably minor stuff like that. Probably some new NSO drops. Uh, yeah, Silk Song could get confirmed. Yeah, there's quite a lot of stuff that's I'm anticipating could happen. But really, I'm going into this like not sure if we're gonna get like a good direct. It's kind of my honest feelings on this because I do think it's an awkward time, and the fact that they haven't confirmed the next piece of hardware, Nintendo hardware, is kind of sus to me. At this point, like that's what I'm mostly looking forward to. So I expect that to happen later in the year. I think they have confirmed it's going to happen later in the year, actually. So until that point, I will see you all next time.